This one sucks. This one hurts extra because of how winnable this game truly was. There is no reason that you have a 12-point lead going into the fourth quarter and you lose this game with the talent that this team has. There's no reason under the sun on God's Green Bay Packer earth should we have lost this game, other than a complete team collapse in the second half. And sure enough, the same Achilles heel that plagued Packers teams in the past plagued this team already in week 2. You see, with the Green Bay Packers, they don't collapse just in one area or one facet. It's not just the offense collapsed, but don't worry, the defense will pick them up. Or the defense collapsed. Don't worry, the offense will pick them up. Don't worry, special teams will show up big. No. When the Packers collapse in any area, it is basically an entire team collapse to follow. It is a subsequent disaster waiting to happen. Sure enough, it took 3 quarters, but toward the end of 3, going into 4, you saw the Green Bay Packers of old. An entire team collapse in quarter 4. It's almost like nobody showed up, and I mean nobody showed up. Jordan Love was already on the bus. Our rookie receivers that have been so damn good forgot how to run their routes. Wouldn't matter if they did because Jordan Love started going to the other guy, the non-open guy. He's going straight, he'll throw left. You go left, he'll throw straight. Defense solid throughout the game until the fourth quarter where they just said, hey, come on over, pass go, collect $200, do what you got to do. Bring your dog. You can piss on a tree, on the 10-yard line, in our end zone. You don't even got to clean up. Special teams didn't do anything, but there wasn't really any chances for them to show up or show out. It was either they were scoring a touchdown or a field goal, or they were making sure that we didn't get 10, 15 yards off a kickoff. This was hard to watch, man. This was so winnable. There were several times in this game where you said, this most likely, if we just keep playing just above average. It's week 2. Not too many people expect too much from this team as it is. We're playing pretty decent to even good. Atlanta's not playing that good at all. If we just keep this up, we'll collect a W. You'll have to have a complete team collapse to somehow walk out of Atlanta as losers. Anyway, that's the cold open teaser. We're about to go over the entire game. I'll try to keep this as short as possible, but fully detailed. Most plays in each of these drives. We'll go through quarter 1, 2, 3, and 4. We'll see exactly where and how the Packers collapsed to lose this game 25-24 in week 2 against the Atlanta Falcons. Grab your coffees, lock in your earbuds, smash those ups, and let's get amplified.
Shine bright up all night, we're never slowing down. Follow drunk mistakes, we're bound to hit the ground. Gotta keep this feeling, keep on breathing, even if we're slipping away. So I close my eyes and lose myself now, till like it's only a day. We got a party for
As I said in the cold open, this one is a lot tougher to take. This one hurts extra because of how winnable this game was. Not it could have been won, but it should have been won by the Packers from Green Bay. Not, could have went either way, a play here or a play there. Those are the breaks in life. What are you going to do? No, we can tell you exactly by dissecting this game, top to bottom, start to finish, beginning to end, exactly what you could have done differently. And we're going to do that in this review because this was a winnable game for the Packers. It should have been won, not could have been. And that's not taking anything away from the Atlanta Falcons. They were in their house. They did the deed. But it's more about what the Packers didn't do. They did not show up in the fourth quarter. They didn't show up on each side of the ball. It didn't matter. They just didn't show up when it mattered the most. What they did do was collapse when it mattered the most. All right, so quarter one, we start off with the Packers having the ball. That's the good news. The bad news, we didn't do anything with it. There's nothing in the notes that were worthy enough to talk about. It was just the Packers get the ball, the Packers punt. Hey, pretty simplistic review. Good night, everybody. But no, for real, there was nothing here. It was just a punt, and it's not the right way to set the tone for the rest of the game. I'll tell you that much. This was a tough way to start this game. A quick punt, hand it right over to your defense. Now, your defense could not appreciate that and say, all right, we're going to give it right back to you. But no, the defense, man, did they show up early here. The defense would make sure that ball went right back to Jordan Love's hands. Rasul Douglas with a big interception off of Atlanta's first drive. And when I say interception, it wasn't a give me, like it just went right into his chest and all he had to do was stand there and get it. No, he reached up high like he was trying to take down some stars with him. He reached really high. He took that ball from Atlanta's offense. Very good, man. That's the good news. Big interception from our defense. The bad news, well, again, for the second time in a row, we didn't do anything with the gift that we were given. We did nothing. It was another 3 and out. And this one was even worse. You had a 10-yard loss off of a Jordan Love sack. So we just somehow got even worse the second go around from the first. Now, things were going to get better and starting in the first quarter, but off right from the jump, right out of the gate, this was not good. Now, the next drive, now the ball is in Atlanta's hands. This is their second possession. Atlanta methodically beats us down. There's no other way to put it. Methodically, they just beat us down and ripped us apart. However, our D stood their ground, laid down some big hits, and stopped Atlanta 3 straight downs at the 1-yard line. 3 straight mega stops. And this forced the Falcons to settle for a chip shot, making it 3-0 in favor of the Falcons. But our defense said, you're not getting in. You're not getting into our end zone. You're not passing that goal line. So there's many things you can say about this defense. One of them is not questioning their toughness. Barring a complete collapse from the team, this defense, 99.99% like a Clorox wipe, is going to show up and clean house. Unfortunately, that's what happened later, though. The entire team collapsed. And when every area is collapsing, the Packers just seem to collapse as a full team. So we'll talk about that in the fourth quarter. But for right here, the beginning of the first quarter, the defense is showing you that they are for real and they are to be taken seriously. Really cool to see. Now, the Pack's next possession starts with a 15-yard connection, Jordan to Romeo Doubs. So good to see Doubs up in here, by the way. The injury report, in case you guys were wondering, I probably should have said this in the cold open, but it was just, we are recording this right after the game. So, raw emotion right now after that big loss. But the injury report, guys, Christian Watson is out again with a hamstring injury. So he was out of this game. No Watson, no Aaron Jones. So we didn't have our star back. A.J. Dillon, though, is a star in his own. So it's cool to have that 1-2 punch. But Aaron Jones is the star back. He's the A, and he was out with Watson So when you don't have that 1-2 punch there, receiver, running back, your A-team, and to even be in this position at the end of the game, I guess a lot of people would say, hey, look at the positives. And there's no question we are. It's just the negatives are so glaring, man. And if we can clean that up, it doesn't matter if you have Watson or Jones, we still should have won this game. I mean, that's what it tells you. Without these two and what we still should have done in this game, that's promising if we can just clean it up. But Aaron Jones was out with that hamstring injury. Quay Walker was in following concussion protocol. Looked for a while like he wasn't going to be in this game after that hit he took in the end zone last week, that big touchdown scored by Quay Walker. But he was in this game, and he was a big pivotal part, man. He's truly becoming a leader on that defense. Romeo Doubs in, second week in a row that he is in the game, still with a bothered hamstring, but in this game, and that was huge. And that's what got us on the discussion of the injury report, because on the Packers' third possession, we started it with that 15-yard connection to Doubs. So a good way to start this possession. Unlike the first two possessions, a little bit of momentum, and that's what we needed at that time. Now, A.J. Dillon would tough it out the next two plays. It took 2 plays, and he was able to scratch up to muster 8 yards. But it was Musgrave that took us over that first down marker and then some. Another 15-yard connection to number 88, Musgrave. Love to Musgrave. Love that connection. And it was set up really well. Man, if we can utilize all of these guys, I mean, this is a potent offense. When you have Watson in there, when you're going to utilize Musgrave, when you have Romeo Doubs and Wicks and Jaden Reed, who had a couple of touchdowns in this game, we'll get to it. I mean, I'm listing five receivers from the jump that each in their own way can be very lethal. Anyway, Musgrave with that 15-yard connection. So far in this third possession, 2 big 15-yard connections. One to Doubs, one to Musgrave. Jordan then runs for another 20 yards on 3rd and long. That was a big play that kept this drive going, and that would end quarter 1. We had all the momentum in the world, but the first quarter is over. And when you look at the clock, Atlanta has more points than us to end the first quarter, 3-0. But hold up, the second quarter is around the bend, and we got all the momentum. So quarter 2 starts with a Green Bay challenge, actually, because Dillon ran for a first down. The referees completely botched the call. You could easily see he got the first down. They got him like a whole yard back. It was like, whoa, somebody throw the red flag. Anything red that you got, throw it onto the field. It was a botched call, but Green Bay would end up getting that challenge call, and it was a first down. We get the call 1 play later. Number 11, the rookie from Michigan State, the aforementioned Jaden Reed, runs it in 9 yards for the touchdown. Big TD, man. He needed 9. He got about 9 and 1 inch. Literally his toe was just tipping the pylon. It just tipped the pylon, and that's all you need in the NFL, man. It was funny, but he got it. He got the job done. 7-3 Green Bay. That scoring drive took 5 minutes and 17 seconds, 11 plays for 84 yards, for those keeping track. Then the Packers D put together another brilliant 4th down stop at our own 41-yard line, man. So picture that. We're on our own 41-yard line, and our defense says, not only are we not letting you in the goal line, or past the goal line, we're not even letting you on our side of the field. And they put together another brilliant stop here, man. Javier Alexander almost had the interception. It literally bounced off Alexander's chest, and he knew he should have had that. But this was no harm, no foul, because the stop resulted in a change of possession anyway. Because again, it was 4th down. We just put up the stop. This is what I mean. This Packers defense in that first half, you put us against any other defense, and I'm saying we're better. A.J. Dillon then charges 27 yards over 3 separate plays, 2 runs and 1 catch. Now, I have all this in my notes just to show you how versatile and how tough A.J. Dillon is. Without Aaron Jones in there, I told you earlier, 2 plays for 8 yards. That doesn't sound like a lot, but he toughed that out. That could have easily been -2 on one play and 3 on the other, making that a net gain of 1 yard. Instead, he toughed it out over 2 plays and got 8 yards. Here, A.J. Dillon gets 27 yards, 2 off of runs and 1 from a catch and run. But 27 yards, you're talking about, just under a third of the field just by this dude toughing it out. Really cool to see. And then the Virginia rookie Wicks takes it to Atlanta's 30. A nice catch by Wicks, man. We'd make it to the 15, but no further. We'd settle for a 3-point field goal. Would have been nice. Man, if we could have scored that touchdown in that scenario, that really not only sets the tone for the rest of the game, but it puts an exclamation point that we're not here to play around. Because the defense was already putting those exclamation points up. The offense was kind of leaving it as a question mark. Exclamation point could go either way. And sure enough, the field goal doesn't really make you feel any better about that. But we did get the field goal. At this point now, it's 10-3. We're up by a full touchdown. And that's with 3 and change to go in Q2, so just over 3 minutes. There was a demoralizing end to the first half. The defense was staying solid, but Atlanta is able to throw a TD pass with 13 seconds remaining. There was a missed extra point. That's the good news. If there's any light at the end of the tunnel, the mixed, I don't know why I want to say mixed. It probably would have been good if we mixed some tequila to see the rest of this game. Probably would have made it better. But the missed field goal was the only light at the end of the tunnel. There you go. I can spit it out. So when you're going into the half, it is now 10-9 Green Bay because of that missed field goal. And that ends the first half, ends Q2. So it's 10-9 Green Bay. We squeaked it out. In terms of stats, you could easily say that Atlanta controlled the game, but if you truly watch this game from second one to the final second, you know that Green Bay just controlled the pace. Even by not controlling time of possession, somehow Green Bay was able to control the pace. Every time the crowd would start to get loud or Atlanta would gain a little bit of momentum, Green Bay just shut them down. So it always felt like Green Bay was in control because the stats will show you different, right? Rushing yards in the first half, Atlanta 107 to Green Bay's 61. Passing yards, Falcons 105 to Green Bay's 58. Now, if you combine the yards, guys, Falcons had 212 yards in the first half, Green Bay 119. That's almost a 100-yard difference. And as far as third down conversions, both teams were 3 for 6. And time of possession in the first half, Green Bay 14 minutes 17 seconds, Atlanta 15 minutes 43 seconds. So again, most of this was controlled by the Falcons from Atlanta, but it was the Packers from Green Bay that controlled the pace, the momentum, how loud the place was. And those are key facets in the game, man. Until you can control that, the stats will be very misleading. So at this point, man, that's what I mean when I said in the cold open, as long as the Packers can just stay just a bit above average, you ain't even got to be great in this game. Atlanta is doing enough not to really make the pace or the momentum become a problem. And the Packers are skating by. We're playing decently. You got to believe there's another notch that we can kick it up into as well, by the way. And that's what we were hoping to see in quarter number 3. And we did. The Packers started showing up. Quarter 3, the Falcons get the ball to start the second half. Big stop from the Pack yet again. You guys are noticing it's a running theme by now, right? It's a trend. The defense yet again with a big stop. And this was a big stop on from the Pack on third down. Quay Walker, who I told you guys earlier, is really starting to control that defense. Quay Walker nearly intercepted Atlanta. The ball was right off of his chest, just like Alexander in the second quarter. Or was that the first? No, Rasul got it in the first. It was off the chest of Alexander in the second and off the chest of Quay Walker in the third. So we had a little bit of bumble fingers, man, in this game. But again, this was no harm, no foul because we'd get the ball off of a punt. So this was not a turnover on downs. This was not fourth down, but we did stop them and we made them punt right off the gates in quarter 3. Now, the Pack was not letting this gift go unappreciated. A methodical drive leads to Jordan Love connecting with number 13 Wicks for a 32-yard touchdown. And this one was a badass, man. Love looked solid. The rookie receivers looked solid, but it was the O-line that were the GOATs in this whole drive. The offensive line. They got the GOAT MVP status here. They get all the love imaginable because it was them. The O-line gave Jordan as much time needed to complete those passes. Guys, you could have went and got a coffee. You could have went on vacation. When you came back, our O-line would still be fending off their defense and not letting them come anywhere near Jordan Love. Literally, take 10 days in the Bahamas, take 8 days over in Hawaii, take 7 down in Orlando, Florida. Go on all the roller coasters, go on Hagrid's, go meet Mickey Mouse, maybe even Don Duck. And when you come back, the O-line is still whooping that ass. And that's one of the things that Aaron Rodgers misses the most. That O-line. He knows he wasn't going to get anything near that on the Jets. You can go to San Francisco. You can go to New Orleans. You can go to the Rams. You can go to the Dolphins. You can go to the Patriots. You can go to the Chiefs. You can go to the Jaguars. It ain't going to matter. You're not going to get that type of O-line, man. Jordan Love got to sit there and have a picnic most of this game. Literally. With the little checkered blanket, the ham and cheese cut-up sandwiches, some chocolate chip cookies, and maybe even some Capri Suns. He had a picnic back there today. That O-line, absolutely, just MVP status, man. And that's what, again, Rodgers is going to miss the most I do believe he's going to come back next year. But he's going to remember just how good he had it with that O-line because Jordan Love is starting to find that out already. This was a big touchdown. Again, as I said, 17-9 now in favor of the Packers. 17-9, third quarter. This is now in our hands. Forget the stats from the second half, and thankfully we were already owning the pace and the momentum anyway, even being muffed up in the stats. But now the third quarter is showing you not only do we have the pace down, not only are we controlling the momentum, but we are clearly the better team now in the second half. The Falcons would just straight beat up our defense on the next drive, and for a moment, even scored a touchdown. But after review, the receiver was ruled out of bounds, and this gave our defense a little bit of juice, and we were able to then stop them from crossing that goal line. Again, you do not want to give our defense a second chance because we are going to shut you down if we muffed it up the first time. And that receiver did not have both feet in bounds, so they have to try it again. And this time our defense said, no, you're settling for a 3, and that's your only option. So sure enough, they did settle for that 3. They nailed that 3, and now it's 17-12. But another big stop from our defense. The next Green Bay possession results in a huge 43-yard defensive pass interference. Defensive pass interference, and this was massive because, again, this was nearly 45 yards. So now you're cutting that field right in half. You're well into their territory. You put together a couple good first downs, and everything is riding on what you're going to do next, man, in that goal line. So this was a big penalty. And it was a penalty. Dude straight up clotheslined our player. I forgot exactly which receiver, too, this was called on, but it was a clothesline. So this was a legit penalty, not one of those little, I'm sure Falcon fans will be saying, come on. But this was legit. So we get this big 43-yard gain. And then a few plays later, Love connects with the Jaden Reed for a big TD. And I mean big TD, man. This was Jaden's second of the game, of course. And this would give the Packers a 24-12 lead. This drive only took 4 plays because of that 43-yard penalty. 4 plays, 78 yards. 2 minutes and 11 seconds. You kind of wish it took a little bit longer looking back at it, you know? Could have probably, could have paced the game even better than we were at the time. But that's the beauty of hindsight, man. It's 2020. But big touchdown here. Jaden Reed continues to look so strong in the absence of Watson. You're talking about rookies, man. You look at Wicks. You look at Reed, Jaden Reed. Look at Dobbs. You look at Musgrave. You get Watson back. I'm telling you, man, this is a very good 1-5 punch. Anyway, 24-12 going into the fourth quarter. Things are looking pretty damn good. A couple touchdowns by Green Bay in the third quarter. The pace is still with us. The momentum is still with us, or at the very bare minimum, it's kept away from them. Everything is going good. As long as the Packers don't do what the Packers do every year in so many games, have a complete team collapse. As long as we stay away from that, we're golden. Even if they start clobbering us, if we do the bare minimum, get a couple of field goals, get 30 points, it's going to be hard for them to come back from 12. It'd have to be 3 touchdowns. Unfortunately, we wouldn't score again. Quarter 4 starts off with disastrous. A flea flicker by Atlanta nets them 45 yards. Just over the head of Savage. And I mean, just by a yard. That's all it took. 1 yard. Savage was there. It was a flea flicker that was not that well done. It didn't really fool us. It was just taller than Savage. And that 45 yards, man, did it clobber us. Not long after that, on fourth down, their QB takes it to the house from the 5-yard line, or at least 5-6 yards out. 24-19 in favor of the Pack. Just like that quickly, down the 5 points. Now you're thinking, okay, again, bare minimum, as long as we stay above average, keep the momentum, make sure that doesn't turn into momentum for them, we're good. The Packers' next possession is a 3-and-out quickly. A quick 3-and-out. Love starts rushing, the crowd is now louder, and you can tell, the momentum is changing. And it could not have come at a worse possible time. Right there, heading into the middle of the fourth quarter. The Falcons come right back and they score another 3 points off of a field goal. And now it's 24-22. And the way that the time is setting up, you already see how this is working out. Packers are going to have another drive, maybe even 2. They're going to be quick 3-and-outs because now the crowd is loud. Love is rushing. There's a little bit more panic and urgency. And the momentum is totally on their side. So it's if you've watched enough football, you can see the clock. You can feel the momentum. And you just know that they're going to set themselves up perfectly to get the game-winning field goal if we just wake up from this entire team collapse. If we can just wake up, that will not happen. But no, the Packers get the ball back after Atlanta scores another 3 points, making it 24-20 or 25-22. 24-22. We'll get to 25, unfortunately. That's going to be the Falcons. 24-22. The Packers get the ball back. And yet again, another quick 3-and-out, and the ball is right back to the Falcons with 6 and change to go. 2 immediate 3-and-outs, giving it right back to them, and they keep scoring every time. We had them on 4th and inches with 2 minutes to go. 4th and inches at the 2-minute warning in the fourth quarter. We had them. Just stop them. Instead of going with the field goal, Atlanta knew our defense was shot, and so they went for it, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them at all for going for it. Our defense was non-existent at that point. The whole team was non-existent. The whole team did not show up for the fourth quarter. They're already on the bus. Their minds are already on the planes. They're already back in Green Bay. I don't blame them at all for going for it. And guess what? They went for it. They got it. They got way more than the inches that they needed. We couldn't do anything but get trampled on, and a fresh set of downs was granted to Atlanta. at the 2-minute warning. With 57 seconds left to go in the game, the Falcons hit the field goal that would put them ahead for good, 25-24. The whole fourth quarter was just them scoring and us volleying it right back to them for another score. Back to us, volley it right back to them. They score. Back to us, volley it right back until there's 57 seconds left and they score the go-ahead. We would get the ball back again with 57 seconds, but we did absolutely nothing. I don't even think there was a first down completed. It went all the way down the fourth down, and Jordan Love, there was almost a completion. Maybe it was Musgrave, I forget, but and there was a penalty, and that was good because it looked like our receiver dropped it. So I'm like, I'll take the penalty, take the 5 yards, do it again, just in case they, want to challenge this or something. But they did challenge it, and sure enough, you got to remember that they can easily decline it. If that's incomplete, they can decline the penalty, and that's fourth down. The game's over, and that's exactly what they did. So then you're thinking, oh, maybe we shouldn't. Maybe it's not a good thing to get that penalty. Maybe it would have been better if we all just rushed to the line and act like he caught it and just rush it, But nobody had the play. Jordan Love was all over the place at that point. The receivers are so young, they don't know what they're doing. Our O-line, that's always solid. They're panicking. This whole thing was disastrous. We were just not set up for that position. And unfortunately, we should have never been in it. Guys, if you didn't watch the game, for whatever reason, maybe it wasn't in your market. I mean, I hear you. I'm in the New York market, but thankfully I'm able to catch all these Packer games. But if you weren't able to see this game, we just didn't show up at all in the fourth quarter. It was one of those vintage Green Bay Packer total team collapses, where it's not just the offense, it's not just the defense, special teams, it's not just a few players, right? Maybe A.J. Dillon just doesn't have his head in the game. What is Jordan Love doing today? Quay Walker, what are you doing, man? Again? I thought we cleaned that up last season. No, it's not like you could just pick a player here and there. A total team collapse. The offense just couldn't even get a first down. The defense was letting them walk. The whole first half, they were saying, you are not getting past this goal line. They're not getting past this goal line. And then in the fourth quarter, they were like, oh, there's nothing we can do to stop you from getting past that goal line. Fuck, the only thing left for us to do is roll out the red carpet. And the game would end just like that, 25-24. We didn't even make it close. We couldn't even get near field goal positioning. It was that bad. So what did we learn from week 2? The Packers, no matter how younger they are, how much rookies are on the team, how there's this new identity, one of their big Achilles, one of their big kryptonites is still, one of their biggest problem areas is still the total team collapse. They have to find a way to step up when others are just not bringing it. Best way to say it, right? When others are dragging, when others are not bringing it, be there to pick them up. But you all can't be taking that many plays off in a row at the same time and expect to walk away with a W from the Falcons in Atlanta. Not going to happen. So if this scenario ever presents itself in the future, look back to this game and do the opposite. That's words of wisdom from BC. Just do the opposite of what you did in this game, because this was one of those games. This is taking nothing away from Atlanta. They did the deed, did what needed to be done, and took that W. But it's what the Packers didn't do, and they did not show up in the fourth quarter. That was absolutely pathetic. And I think everybody knows that, from the coach to the players to the front office to the fans. Everybody involved with this G. We all know that this was a massive botch in the fourth quarter. And just look at that fourth quarter. That's what lost you this game. Do the opposite of everything you did in that fourth quarter going forward. I believe we're back home now. We're going to go home for the Saints, I believe, right? I think that's a 1:00 game, and we'll try to rectify this massive loss because 25-24 in a game that we should be walking away with that W, and we didn't walk away with it because we just didn't show up in that fourth. This is a massive loss, man. This could have been a big 2-0. And instead, we're limping into week 3, 1-1. And I mean limping in. Are we going to have Aaron Jones? Are we going to have Watson? Is Bakhtiari going to be ready to rock? I mean, this dude's already banged up. We're 2 weeks into the season. Man. Oh, boy. Such a promising week 1 and a promising first 3 quarters of week 2. And then it all fell apart. My name is BC Amplified. This has been your Packers review. Week 2, Packers versus Falcons. We'll do it again next week. Packers and Saints. Until next time. And it will be that next time. BC saying check you. Peace.